felt the right thing to be discussing today would be to imagine a world without strife, stress, and make the world a better place. And it's always a good time to think about these things, and always a good time to do something about all these things. On that note, I'm happy to see our speaker is here. Our speaker today is a renowned professional speaker, and he talks about the inner power that all of us have within to make a difference. I hand you over to Sandeep Nath, who joins us from New Delhi. Sandeep.
Thank you, Gaurav. Thank you, Entrepreneur Connect. And thanks all of you for being here. It's such a special day today, a very auspicious day. And I love sharing it with you. So thanks for being around. So today we're going to talk about, and happy Diwali, time to celebrate. And that's why we're going to talk about celebrating in a time of stress or strife. And I'm going to take you through 3 stories, and then we're going to discuss a bit about them. And then we're going to go into 3 things that you can do to be in that mode of celebration. So does that sound good? How does that sound? I'd like you to keep it interactive, keep using the chat box. And let me get down to starting with my first story. This is a story about a teenage boy. He was the son of a government officer, an engineer, and he wanted to fly. So he wrote the exam for the National Defense Academy. He got through. He got a letter from the President of India inviting him to become a flying cadet. And then his father said, it's good, it's a government service, but what if you just write the engineering exams also? Maybe you get through that, and then you have a choice. And if you don't, you go back here. The boy wasn't really into engineering, but he got through the exam and he became an engineer. And during the course of becoming an engineer, in the 3rd year of engineering itself, he got glasses, and that made him look more studious. So he kind of liked it. Life went on. He didn't do much engineering. He went on to become a marketing professional, set up his own company. And almost 20 years later, in his midlife, around 37, 38, he realized that these glasses were coming out of stress, out of a conflict that his teenage mind had between what he wanted to do and what he was doing. The conflict inside and outside being different. Every time there's conflict, whether it's between people of different religions or people of different countries, we've got so many wars right now. Russia, God, for so many years now, they've been at it. It's all about what's inside a certain boundary and what's outside it. Like I said, we're going to come back to discussing this. Keep the point, preserve the idea. My second story is about a much younger girl who was born in 2003, a Gen Z. She was born to the daughter of an actor, and the mother was a singer, is a singer. And so you would imagine that this kid would be very vivacious, but no. What we discovered as she grew is that she had something called Asperger's syndrome, obsessive compulsive disorder, and a kind of mutism, an autism, which made her socially a recluse. She was not able to communicate with comfort or be around people. By the age of 8, this girl was exposed to concepts like global warming and climate change because she could see things like that happening around her. She was born in Sweden. She could see the melting of the ice caps and the impact of global warming, permafrost, things in her neighborhood. right around. And the climate was so gloomy in terms of the outside that it made her gloomy inside. It happens to you also, right? Sometimes when it's rainy, some of us, we just get depressed. Some of us, of course, enjoy the rain. But what happens outside affects us. There is strife. And this girl suffered depression because nobody seemed to be serious about doing anything about this. As she approached her puberty and all the way up to 15, she was a complete recluse. And then one day, she decided that she's going to put up a billboard and sit with that on the Friday. And every Friday, she's going to do that till people took photos of her, put it on social media, and started seeing that there is a reason to start doing something, start a dialogue about their planet. They are inheriting the planet. We are in 2023, so the girl is just about 20. I'm sure many of you have guessed who she is. If you'd like to put her name in the chat box, please do. I'd love the fastest finger first. The first person who gets that name in the chat box gets a little gift from me right after this. So that's it, Gaurav Paul. I don't think, Gaurav, you qualify. Besides, you don't because you got the spelling wrong. Somebody wants to put full name with the right spelling is going to win the prize. Gaurav, you don't get the prize. Right. So this is Greta Thunberg. And she has been an advocate of this despite all that the climate did to her personally, giving her those every reason to be cooped up in a little room doing nothing with a label of Asperger's syndrome thrown on her and all that selective mutism and stuff like that. The third story is about another girl, also from Sweden. But she was born about 13 years. She died about 13 years before Greta Thunberg was even born. That's a clue. She was born the daughter of a person who was working in a jam factory. And she was living in the slums. She was the youngest of three siblings in the ghetto. And with very limited means, she grew up her teenage years. Towards the end of her teenage years, her father fell very sick. She took care of her father. By the time she was 20, her father died. After him, she was left to fend for herself. All she had going for her was she was good looking. And so she started modeling. That modeling career took her into some movies locally in Sweden that caught the attention of somebody in Hollywood whose last name is Maya. And from there, she grew on to become the highest paying actress of her time by MGM. Not only that, she was also one of the few stars who remained relevant from the silent era to the talkies and way beyond. She was 85 when she died in 1990. But she died a recluse, not because she didn't have money, but because of the way that she had been programmed and the way that she conducted her life was extremely private. She never went to an Oscar function. She had very few friends. Evidently, she was bisexual. And we're talking about, in the 40s, 50s, it was a very big deal. But with all that, she maintained a very low-key private life. And when she left, she handed over $72 million to her niece. She never got married. She never had kids. Any guesses who this one is? It's not Monisha. That's the only name I see. Come on, give it a shot. Who's this? The gift is still on. Three, two, one. It's another Greta Garbo. Now, why I bring up these three stories is because there are many reasons why we can have strife. And if you go by these three, nothing really in common to them. But there are three sources of strife which we can look at as three C's. The first story, I don't know that I asked you who it was. Any guesses who that was? Come on, guys, use the chat box, use your minds. Who could you? All right, Sachin, you got it. The first story was mine. And I don't wear glasses now because way back then, at the age of 37, 38, I figured how to handle conflict. So the first C is about conflict. When your inside and your outside are at conflict with each other, be they, like I said, religions or countries or persons, you will have strife. The second is the climate. When the outer climate and the inner climate are different, and there could be physical climate like global warming or emotional climate. You know, everybody's celebrating. One of my students or one of the people that I'm coaching right now is in that state. She gets completely depressed because Diwali's come. And those climatic changes in emotions cause so much strife that it's not understandable by science, but it can be understood by you here and now as we proceed. And the third, C, we've got conflict, we've got climate, and we've got currency. Currency is what we exchange. And it is not a function of money. 72 million Greta Garbo left to a niece. There was no dearth of money. But the girl, even though she was invited to and hobnobbed in the White House with the Kennedys, she was not a social person at all. She couldn't be. That wasn't her operating currency. It wasn't the exchange that she could have given, even though she was such a celebrated actress. Everybody, there were times when people used to go, what is it called? Garbo spotting on the streets of New York, because she decided to take a walk at one point in time, and some people caught her in Central Park. And it became a hobby, you know, Garbo spotting. But nobody would really get to know her. That is complete emotional and social bankruptcy. You don't have that currency. So in order to get out of strife, we've got to see how conflicts, climate, and currency can be countered. And this is where Diwali comes as a, as a cue, as something you can remember. So what is Diwali? Diwali, any thoughts you want to unmute and tell me what's Diwali to you? I will give you my thought on this, but please, anybody wants to share? Come on, guys, you are on YouTube.
To me,
I see comments here, right? Festival lights, but a little more expansive. You can unmute and talk.
Sandeep,
Yeah, Sachin, go on.
to me, Diwali is all about lights and sweets and friends, you know, and new clothes. This is that excitement as a child that we used to have. I still have it for Diwali even today.
Yeah. Go on.
To me, it is a day of taking risks. At the age of 10, I was putting together a bomb whose, the lighting part had come apart. So I tried to shove it in and lit it, and it blew up in my hand. So I still have a mark. And about 40 years later, there was this friend of mine who'd bought these candles. They have 10 pops that go up. And I tried to put it on the ground, and that guy said, no, I saw this in Bardubai, people were putting it in their hands, and going like Statue of Liberty. So I took one and it went 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10. And I handed it over to him. No, he says, now that you have practiced, take another shot. So I put another thing in my hand. And this time again, it blew up in my hand. I'm talking about 5 years ago. So Diwali reminds me of, being a risk taker and paying for it because those risks are without due diligence. And of course, then getting sympathy of people and being fed sweets afterwards. Thank you.
The man with metal hands.
Gaurav, you just brought memories to me. Both in the same boat. Yeah, so I said mischief. But yesterday I experienced something while I went to a mall that I've never seen that happiness around me, just to meet. And fortunately, there were some of them who were just giving free, I think, sweets. Those counters, they come for tasting. So it was a very different experience that probably my perception was, sometimes we say, Sandeep, to change ourselves. So I looked at it in a different way, and I was really blessed by just meeting up to, I think on an average, I must have encountered over 20 plus. And yeah, just so happy. In fact, we were just laughing about, there was a family at the counter, and this senior citizen lady, I mean, the grandmother, of course, she wanted to buy a big chocolate, it was 50% off. And when she bought it, I think her daughter or maybe her daughter-in-law just actually just told her, hey, you don't need that. And then poor thing, she went and kept it back. So I said, hey, it's Diwali. Let everyone enjoy. So yeah, that was my takeaway yesterday. Yeah, thanks.
Good. And Monisha says, stay at home, enjoy the sweets. Alithia says, festival of lights. So, I mean, the thing about taking risk is amazing, Gaurav. I was thinking you got like metal hands, you're practicing. That's what you're talking about, stress. You stress, you make yourself in positions where you start getting stressed so that you can use your metal hands later. So, so yes, there's one common thread to all this. And the common thread is actually why it is the festival of lights, why it's, like Sachin says, all about joy, cheer, and lighting up everything. And that is because it is to remind us that the light is inside. And that inner light you can manifest in outer and remove the darkness, dispel the darkness for everybody. Which is what Lord Rama did by coming back to his kingdom. He was the light, and Diwali is the day when Lord Rama returns to Ayodhya. And it is festivity, it is joyousness. And for some of the people who weren't very fond of Rama, it is probably the time of risk. So, Gaurav, which which side are you on of the conflict? But Rama, as we all know, is the one who signifies good over evil, because on the Shera 3 weeks ago is when he conquered Ravan, whose 10 faces signify the 10 forces that compel us to be less than our total potential. The forces of greed, the forces of delusion, of anger, of ignorance, of grief, and so on and so forth, jealousy. These are what we counter through the inner light, which is why Ram destroyed Ravan and returned. When he returned, he proved one thing, that your inner power can change your outer reality. Your outer reality of Ayodhya, which was languishing for 14 years, was revived once again, was re-energized once again. And to date, maybe 5,000 years later, it's an undated event, the story of Ramayana. But let's say 5,000 years later, we still carry that essence of that energy, of that light, and bringing that light forth to change to dispel the darkness, to change the surroundings. So that being the philosophy of the celebration, the sad part is that with technology today, this light is just one switch away, and you just flick the switch, and bam, there's a lot of lighting, and then Sachin likes to have more lights than his neighbors, so he's got like, my home is the best lit. But we've forgotten that the real energy, all of you, Sachin included for this Diwali tomorrow, all of you, the energy really lies in making the wick, in filling the oil, in putting it in the diya, in the lamp, and in lighting it physically. That's where the transfer of that energy is happening, and you're feeling that power that you have to change things and begin a real celebration. And then if you do that in many places and you really have a lot of diyas, a lot of lamps, a lot of lights around, then that's just signifying that you are investing in your own power with every little action. That being the philosophy. Let me give you 3 things and then we'll close. These are things that are going to get you to celebrate by increasing that power and bringing that inner and outer connection to counter the 3 C's: conflict, climate, and currency. Through the 4th C, celebration. And the story I have for you here is the one that I was starting on myself. You see, this conflict that was coming was happening because of my own self-talk. I talked myself into that state of freedom, but I felt trapped. And what I discovered 21 years later was that I can talk myself out of it. And I really did. I don't wear spectacles now because of something called affirmations. And that happened through a person called Louis Hay, whose book I would recommend to you, You Can Heal Your Life. The mind-body connection is very powerful. But even if you don't read Louis Hay, even if you don't have any physical debilities to conquer with the mind, what you can do to celebrate every moment is imagine a parrot on your shoulder. I'm going to give you 3 seconds. Imagine a parrot on your shoulder. Imagine the color of the parrot. It need not be a green parrot. You have a parrot on your shoulder? Now, this is a talking parrot, mind you. And it can say only one line. Okay, maybe 1.5 lines, but one major line. And the line is that what you want? Is that what you want? Every time a thought comes to you and you feel like saying it, listen to the parrot. My mother has this problem that whenever something is going to happen which she doesn't want, like my niece gets wet in the rain, she says, now she's going to fall sick. If my mom keeps that parrot activated, is that what she wants? Does she want her granddaughter to fall sick? No, she doesn't. Then why say it? So that's the half line that the parrot can also give you before you open your mouth. This can help you change your outer reality completely, because remember, whatever you're manifesting out there is coming because you at some level have asked for it. And if you put it in words, it becomes a resonance, it becomes an energy, it becomes a frequency, a vibration that's actually gone out to everybody. As a thought, it doesn't go out that powerfully. But the moment you say, the kids are coming home late for some reason, you don't know what happened, and you say, the bus must have had a flat tire. Now, the bus may or may not have a flat tire. I'm not talking about manifesting flat tires here. I'm talking about, is that what you want? Because what could actually be happening could be that they have a surprise party in the school for Diwali, and they hadn't told the kids because they wanted to keep it a surprise, so the parents didn't know. And there is a message line in your message box which you have not seen, saying that the kids will be half an hour late. So while that message could have given you happiness, hey, the school thought about a kid's Diwali party and surprise, Right now, you are worried, stressed. Have they had a flat tire? Have they been kidnapped? What's happening? Is that what you want? Change that by your self-talk. And the way you talk to yourself, you eventually, with practice, will get into a state where you manifest it. That's habit number one, crack number one. Keyword is parrot. The parrot only knows, is that what you want? So why say it? Number two, to begin practices of celebrating every moment is aligning what you say, assuming you've said it because you want it, with what you do and how you feel. Your being, we're human beings. Your being is coming from deep within you. Greta Thunberg's being, karmically, her consciousness at a very base level could not accept that people remain silent about climate change when they know it. So she decided to do something. And that got her out of her depression, that got her out of all those labels that the scientists and doctors had attached to her name, Asperger's and whatever else, and made her an international celebrity, not because she was a Greta Garbo type of celebrity, but because she was an intellectual celebrity, a person whose word holds value, a person who you can follow, a person who may be 1/4 your age, but is speaking 4 times the sense that you ever thought you, and has the guts to say it to the United Nations, to the COP, to everybody. Those possibilities open. Because what she says, what she does, and what she bees, the say, do, be, is in harmony. Bringing your say, do, be in harmony, bringing that alignment between say, do, be, is a way to work the world with a lot more consciousness, with happiness, with conscientiousness. In some language, conscientious and conscious are the same, but in English they're different, and therefore I stress on this. You have the right morality about it, and you have the right feeling deep down, the consciousness and the conscientiousness. Bringing say, do, be in alignment. And the third, and I'm going to close on this one, is knowing that you can be in the pits. Greta Garbo was in the slum. But if you are thankful for wherever you are, and you acknowledge where you are, you have a hard ground from where you can jump. If you say, if Greta, for example, had said, I will be happy only when I have $50, because I'm sure she didn't have $50 at that point in time. She would have been happy only when she had this. There is no hard ground. She finally had 50 million and 72 million. It all happened because she had the hard ground. This is where I am. I can become a model. Let me do that. I'm thankful I'm a model. I am still a recluse. I am still a private person. That currency does not hold meaning to me. But you need not be a Greta Garbo in that context. You can be a much more balanced person in terms of how you approach the currencies. But just knowing that you can generate currency through gratitude. Not being a victim of your circumstances because things happen to you, but being a victor over your circumstances because things happen for you. Her father died so that she could move out of that jam factory environment and explore what her heart felt without conflict. She loved to act. She was very good at it. She pursued what she wanted. And that's the lesson. See what is it that you can be thankful for in whatever is happening, because when you are, what happens really is that, how many of you use the phrase blessing in disguise? Just type yes in the chat box. It's a very common phrase. So I imagine even if you don't type yes, you use that phrase, blessing in disguise. When do we say, thanks for those yeses, when do we say blessing in disguise? We say it when we think in hindsight that, oh, that was bad, but actually it was good. We are grateful that it happened because that's what's got us here today. Right? So that was a blessing. We realize now. If you can be grateful in the present, you have the blessing now. There's no gap. You don't realize after 10 months or 10 years or 10 decades that that was a blessing. The blessing is now because you can be grateful for it now. And you have your whole life to figure out how that blessing makes a difference to you. I wish you all the blessings, all the gratitude. Thank you for calling me here. And may you have a very, very blessed Diwali, all of you. I'm right around here. If you have any questions, I'd love to take that. Or we get on to the meeting. Thank you so much, Gaurav, for all that.
Thanks so much, Sandeep. A reminder that our inner world creates our outer world. And you mentioned Greta Garbo. I'm reminded of a song, and I'll sing for you. Since we have Jude, he will correct me afterwards. Where do you go to, my lovely, when you are alone in your bed? So this is a song about Marlene Dietrich, who also grew up in a slum and was one of contemporaries of Greta Garbo. So now that we've heard you, if there are any questions, please go ahead. Sachin is our man with the questions. So maybe Sachin wants to take a shot and then we'll continue with our meeting.
Thank you, Sachin, for that little summary of the to-dos, the practical habits in the chat box.
Yeah, I thought it'll be useful for people to have that summary, the 3 points. Very, very well said, and thanks, Sandeep, for sharing that with us. And the only question I have is stress in today's circumstances. I think things have not changed much over the years, but then it has always been that the pressure is always about time. Like, I've got too much to do. And that is the stress. Like, there is no time to sit and attend a lecture or on stress management because I have other things to do. And that's why Anupama had to leave, right? So stress is like, there is no time to, so how do you address that?
It's a very interesting question. Thank you, Sachin. And thanks for quoting Anupama's example, because she's going to be watching this. She's going to watch that recording. She asked for it specifically. And the thing is that time is the same for everybody. We all know that. And we all know that, same human beings do different things at the same time. So time is external to us. And what we can control is not something external. What we can control is something internal. The whole Diwali concept of that light is inside. And what is inside of you is your energy. So the moot point is not that there is less time. The moot point is that there is less energy. If you can increase your energy, which Anupama is doing through what is higher priority for her, because she knows she can catch up on this recording later, and so can so many other people. That is important. A day before Diwali is a very high priority because of the nature of the festival. Likewise, there may be a client that is on very high priority, which is at the cost of some social engagement that you have committed to. Every time there's a priority conflict, energy gets sapped. Priorities take away, fragment energies. They are like the bucket with holes. So you've got to know what your priorities are, and when you stick by them, then your energy stays intact. Now, there are two things. One is keeping the energy intact, and the other is building on the energy. To build on the energy, your say-do-be alignment does. Every time you say what you do and you do what you feel like and you feel from within what you say, you are creating that cyclotron of energy within. You are maintaining your authenticity, your integrity, your word counts, your social value increases, and all of that. You increase your energy. You can increase your energy through things like Qigong, which is ancient Chinese practice of aligning the body, mind, and spirit. And increasing your energy will give you more time. That's all it takes. So since we have a limited time, I'm going to just say the time is not the concern. Time will come and go. What you do in that time is determined by how much energy you can invest in it. So invest in your energy and increasing that.
Thank you, Sandeep. Thank you, Sandeep. That was
just a quick thing with Sandeep is what do? You do meditation? How do you conserve your energy? And what about the food intake? There's a lot of things that I want to ask you, but just the basic thing, like how do you balance and what are your tips on detoxing? I don't know if you believe in the concept of detox, but just had a quick question.
Well, I'll keep it short. You see, I practice Qigong, and Qi is the Chinese word for life force energy, and Gang is the word in Mandarin to work with. So working with energy, any sort of energy work is the mother of all these things that happen with energy that we know of today as access bars and this and that and whatever. So Qigong brings your mind, body, and spirit in alignment. And that then becomes a habit which brings everything into peak efficiency, because everything you do with either mind or body or spirit or a combination, usually a combination, some portion of the other. So knowing how to manage those three and keep them balanced will give you optimal results for everything. Qigong is also called a meditation and movement. So yes, the second thing is that the word Qi itself is formed out of two words. You know, like in Hindi, we have these two words that are formed, guru and kul. Now, kul means family, and guru means the one who removes obscurations. But when we put them together as guru kul, it becomes a school. So similarly, the word chi is a symbolic word, and one part of the symbolism is the word for air, what we breathe, and the other is the word for rice, what we eat. So the ancient Chinese knew this when they were building the language itself, that it's only through what you breathe and what you eat do you get physical energy. And therefore, the best way to detox is to go closest to rice. Eat naturally. All processed foods out. Simple. Minimize the cooked food. Eat as raw as possible. Raw nuts, raw salads. Of course, the problem now is pesticides. So that's where the toxicity comes in. So it's good to cook them. But you get the picture. Anything that's coming out of a packet is not going to be close to nature. It's going to take longer to process. And so all your chi, all your life force energy is going to go into your stomach rather than going into your mind and your body and making you deliver results. You're just going to be sitting and processing whatever you ate. So the best way of detoxifying is to allow your body 2-3 weeks on a diet which is most natural. Eat when you're hungry. Don't force yourself, so that you allow your cells to continue to energize themselves and reproduce themselves. What's called autophagy, the cellular regeneration, is natural, and you get closer to nature, and bam, you will regenerate in 3 weeks. I hope that answers you. Awesome. And the brilliance of this is that we knew this 5,000 years ago.
Sandeep, just a quick, if nobody is asking, I would just like to ask what books you read that energizes your intellect?
I read mostly nonfiction, and I read stuff which is related to Buddhist philosophies. So there are a lot of books by lamas from their insights, and I read what might be classified in the self-help genre, because I write in the same genre, and things to do with increasing your potential. because that's the area in which I coach. So helping people get to peak potential. But small books, like one of the ones that I'm currently reading, is a very thin book. I just finished it yesterday. What's the name? Pig Wrestling. Yeah. So it's on the philosophy of, you I think it was George Bernard Shaw who said that you never wrestle with a pig, because the pig enjoys getting muddied up, and you don't. So, so he's talking about how to avoid the pig wrestling kind of thing.
I
To
only
do with
remember as a child that we used to catch pigs in our village. Yeah, but that's good. Yeah, any movies that we can watch to just inspire ourselves? If yes, yeah.
My favorite movie of all time, I'm sure you've seen it, but I could see it any number of times, is The Last Samurai.
So
One
that's
of
my
the
favorite.
yeah,
My favorite.
one of the nice movies I saw on OTT this week was an old movie, I think 2015 or something, The Gift. Very well, really nice. I would recommend that.
Great.
Manisha is in a very colorful place. Looks so nice.
Since we've all been good children, I think we will call it a day today. Give early chutti. What do you say, Alithia?
But we could do a small thing led by Sandeep, maybe about how everyone does whatever, and maybe some introspection about what we're going to change, or, some like action points or something like that. If anybody wants to like share individually how we want to do something different or incorporate anything that was a takeaway or something. Sandeep, lead it for us if you want. Yeah, Gaurav,
Sandeep, how much time do we have with you?
No, I have time, but let's keep this to 7 minutes so that we are on the top of the hour, and we are.
And then we wind off at 9.
Okay. Here, I would request Sachin to be the note taker in the chat box so that we can all save the chats. What I'd request everybody to do, starting with Alithia, because it was your idea, is two things. One, I'd like you to tell us one practice. Keep it to a minute. One practice that has made a difference in your life recently, or not even recently, but has made a difference. Like these three practices, which Sachin's already recorded there, made a huge difference for me, and they do for anybody. What made a difference for you, which could inspire the rest of us to adopt it from Diwali and make a difference to ourselves? And the second thing I want you to do is to tag the next person who you want to invite to speak.
Okay.
Over to you.
Done. So I think the one difference that I have incorporated and changed is not taking life too seriously. If it's not done, it's not done. Khalas, no worries. Maybe it wasn't meant to do. And I just don't take stress over it. Maybe I go watch Netflix, take a early night, wake up fresh and start again. So I just simply don't take things too seriously anymore. Though I want to do it, I want to be ambitious, I want to do a lot more than, but yeah, I don't take stress at all. So I just watch Netflix.
Sachin,
in Hindi, you can say Alifia's life philosophy is tension nahi lene ka, tension dene ka.
Awesome.
Sorry, Mike. That translates to don't take tension in life, just give it.
Only give. So I'll pass the mic to Mike.
Well, I've never done stress, and I don't believe in getting sick. So the last time I was sick overnight in hospital was about 1955. So I know, like Sachin was saying, the body repairs itself. Today's Saturday. I fast on Saturday. I don't eat. I drink a lot, but I don't eat. So, Sachin, you mentioned something about time. I taught time management for decades. It's an oxymoron. What Sandeep said to a certain degree, it's about priorities. If it's high priority, you'll find the time. If it's not, you'll find excuses. If it was life-threatening, you'd do it at 2 o'clock in the morning. If it was important, you'd find the time to do it. If it's not, you'll find excuses. So if you want to manage your time better, I'll teach you a technique. It's A, B, C, D, E. A are things that must be done. In Arabic, lazem, must be done. There are serious consequences, done or not done. B, things that should be done. They're not as important as must be done, but they should be done. And the rule is you never do a B task when there's an A task to be done. C, things are nice to do. Have a cup of coffee, surf the net, read the newspaper, whatever. Right? Eliminate. So, sorry, D is delegate. So anything that other people can do better than you, you delegate to them. And E, obviously, is eliminate. Having a not to do list is just as important as having a to do list. Right? Eliminate the things that don't bring value. And don't write task lists, write result lists. Most people, when they have a to do list, they write all the things they're going to do. It's waste of space. Say the results that you want to get today, and then do whatever's necessary to get the result. So work on results, not on tasks. Will that do, Alifia?
Fabulous.
Awesome,
And you have to tag the
awesome.
next person.
Mike, Mike, you're married and you have kids, Mike?
My favorite.
No, not married, widowed. My wife passed away in 2016. Do I have kids? Do I have kids? People who know me, yes and no.
Sorry to hear that, Mike.
Do I have kids? Yes and no. I
Kids
promise
are
you my
parents.
answers. I promise you my answer is 100% correct, by the way, but we can talk about that later. I'll hand the floor to Sachin. I was talking to you, so Sachin, you're next.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Mike. The one practice that has made a difference in my life, it has been a practice of meditating on 7 goals, on 7 aspects of life. Like just when we meditate, there are different people meditate on different things, or just like nothing, try to think nothing or something. What I do is sit down, meditate, and I say, number 1, health. And I say out my health goal. Number 2, family. And then I say, what is my family goal? Or what do I want to be? The best father, the best husband, or those kind of things. Number 3, wealth. The wealth goal. Number 4, career. The goal in the career. Like what do I want to achieve in my work, right? Or business. Number 5, spiritual life. What do I want to achieve spiritually? Number 6, social life. What do I want to do? The relaxing time, the time with friends, helping, going out, all those kind of things. And number 7, last but definitely not the least, education. What do I want to learn? I meditate on these 7 goals. Once you are in that deep state of meditation, meditating on all 7, it kind of helps you make progress in all these areas of life. You can't make progress at the same time on all areas. Certain areas take precedence at certain times. But then it kind of keeps my goals in my mind.
Awesome. Who are you handing over to?
We'll hand over to Jude.
Hey, Gaurav, I see I'm still spotlighted. Can you remove my...
Yeah, thanks, Sachin. For me, it will and always... can I go on, Gaurav? Is it fine? For me, it's always been and will be till I reach my end stage of my life is giving. Yeah. So Giving, I mean, I follow this ARK, not spiritually, not any kind of things that are clammed over me, but I follow Arc of Random Kindness. I've been practicing it for 22 years. Nobody has taught me that. I just decided one day just to do one good work. Sometimes I've done 8 good works a day. Today morning only we were just driving for badminton, and I just had this security guard, so I just drove him back to his wherever he had to be in our club. Yeah, so just look forward, and those things will just come. So just doing, and without expectation, yeah, not to expect anything. So there's it. Giving, but don't expect anything in return. Yeah, just keep. And that's being able to bless my social quotient, intellectual, all the quotients, whatever quotients you want, into just balancing. Yeah, so Sachin has given 7, and it's very good, Sachin. But just to balance, that's been my quotient portion in life, both. Thank you.
It's beautiful. Yeah, okay. Something I'm going to start practicing Diwali onwards. Who are you handing over to?
I'll be handing it over to Mudit.
Mudit, are you here?
Yeah, I am here. Uh, Good morning, everyone. So, great session, Sandeep. Really good one, inspiring. And the best stress buster that I use always is deep silence. And that deep silence is what I call uh, my silence also. Why? Because, when I am in my own genre, I actually able to focus on my creative circles, creativity, and that's what I do. So deep silence is what I actually practice, and that I also preach. One should practice that, because once we practice deep silence now, although, because what happens is mind and heart are creating thoughts on a repetitive and continuous manner. So there should be a break on our thoughts, so that we can focus only on one thing, and this is how it makes our focus to the strong point. And once you focus on first what is the priority, then rest other things will automatically, will be, which are of less importance or less something, that will be uh, overruled. So that's what I do. And of course, as I always do it, I sometimes it's better to play a music also, a little, Saudi music, meditative music. But most of the time I practice in the morning, which is during 3:30 to 5:30 period of time, because that time I think that's the most beautiful time one should meditate if you can get up. So this is what I generally do. And what I've observed is getting in during that period and take a nap after that, no worries. And you will always see that you are energetic, you are fresh, and you have lot more to achieve and lot more to focus on. So this is one practice that I always do, and I always ask for the people to do it.
Lovely. Yes, that is called the golden hour. And thanks,
Yeah.
Sachin, for those notes. Mudit, part 2, 3:30 to 5:30. Who are
So
you handing
I'll
it over?
nominate. Yeah, I'll nominate Bharat.
You're muted, Bharat.
Mine is a little, rebellious. I don't force myself. I remember in my school days, one of my teachers, who was believed to be the most strict of all, and I was given the luxury to be not pulled up for anything I do. That means if I am sleeping on the desk and he is teaching, I would do that. And suddenly my hand would raise up and I would ask him a question which will totally be something which nobody would have expected someone who was sleeping. So I was very attentive in my own way, and I still am. what happens is a lot of time we meditate. We have been through, I'm 62 now, lovely years, learning a lot of things, going through almost, my experience, I would say, going through so many things. But one thing still remains. Don't stress yourself. Just be yourself. Be that rebellious one. Be that. And Sandeep wanted me to read a book for a long time. I finally got it. And I've read the first page and I'm reading the first page again and again, again and again. It's a simple line. Let me read it out to you. You can never have true freedom without financial freedom. He would go on to say, freedom may be free, but it has a price. So friends, what is the price you want to pay? For me, I will pay anything to be myself. So I think I should pass the buck to Gaurav now.
Great to see you, Bharat. It's been a while. And today we are getting a lot of surprises. At least I am getting a lot of surprises. We have so much wisdom in our midst that it boggles my mind. So all of us are capable of wisdom. And I was just looking through my phone, and a friend of mine from school, we have a school group, shared some wisdom, which I want to share, which resonates with me. Every positive thought is a silent prayer, which will change your life. So all of us carry so much wisdom. It is about application. And what I'm going to apply is what Sandeep shared with us today. Is this what you want? And I believe it will change my life. Thank you.
I guess we're over to Monisha. And if we can have Mudit and Mike switching on the cameras, we can take a group photo while Monisha is speaking.
Yes. Thanks. I'm not able to put my camera on today. Please excuse me. But yeah, lovely sharings on the group. For me, personally, one thing that I have been struggling with in the past, and sometimes yet it is still a struggle, is to be yourself. Many a times the whole need of matching up to the expectation of others has put tremendous pressure on me. And I say that because I was the eldest child in my whole family, and I had to be that role model. But as I grew up, and now having gone through with the different mentors, and of course there is a time where you come into the whole part of self-realization, is that no matter what you do, people are going to say things either this way or that. So just live the day, live it to the fullest this day, because if you think what's going to happen tomorrow, it's going to take out the essence and the presence of what you're doing today. So tomorrow will have its troubles of its own. So enjoy the moment. Just live it, love it. That's it. Thank you so much.
Lovely. Sachin, if you have notes to post, then we'll save the chat. And I hand over back to you, Gaurav. Not a lovely session. Thank you, everybody, for contributing.
Sandeep, thank you so much. It's been a memorable meeting. And if we can apply part of what we learned today from wise men and women in our midst, we will definitely be transformed and be our names 2.0. On that note, let me hand you over to Alithia to take us through the rest of the meeting, or to call it quits. Alithia.
I thought I had read all of Robert Kiyosaki's books, Mike. Brilliant session. I think it was lovely. It was, I think sometimes you need those reminders, you need those, realignment, if you will, right? So to really like pat on the back and push in the front to, get started and, not just be stuck with speed breakers on the road, but technically be happy, look at a bigger picture and find ways, because life happens and things happen, but it's about maybe learning from each other and inspiring, or maybe take each other's ideas and see what could work and would work, because at the end of the day, we have the only ones who have to take control of our own lives, right? So at the end of the day, we're not going to have parenting and our parents to look after us all the time. Now we've got responsibilities and we've got to look after ourselves and have that measurement meter, which will keep us grounded, rooted, and moving in the right direction with whatever emotion there is and will be. So thanks, Mr. Stress Guru, Sandeep, for realigning all of us, and lots and lots to learn and great sharing from everyone else. So with that, we're going to call this meeting officially to an end. And if anyone wants to keep chatting, we will keep the room on. But loads to share and loads to learn, and keep being aligned and be happy. Happiness is the only meter that matters at the end of our life.
Happy Diwali, everybody.